Patient Prism, and I'm here live at our Patient Prism studios at the Dykema's 9th annual DSO conference. It's been a wonderful event, and I've been talking to lots of friends and colleagues and leaders in the space. One of them he's here with me. Nilesh Rajadhyax is a president and the COO of Great Expressions Dental Centers. They're in about 8 or 9 states, I believe,
Yep.
and 272 offices and counting. And Nilesh has been there for a few years, has done a lot of work within the organization to kind of figure out how to kind of take this organization, as everybody's trying to figure out in the post-pandemic world, and grow it to support more and more doctors across the country. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amol. Excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friends, I apologize. I just want to, sir, can we fix your collar for me, please?
Sure.
I can start again.
No, I mean, I can cut it.
Oh, you can cut it. Okay, perfect.
Does that work?
Perfect, yeah.
Apologize to interrupt you, friends.
No worries.
So tell us, Nilesh, what has Great Expressions been up to in 2022, and what's coming up? What are the future plans?
Sure. So a couple of things have been, as you know, we've gone through some of the challenges the industry is facing, right? So we had COVID in January, and we are seeing a lot of, attrition, labor challenges. So one of our big focus areas has been to ensure that, we focus on keeping our offices staffed and maximizing so that the team members are there to help our doctors do what they do best and love, which is dentistry. The other growth area has been affiliations. We've been talking to a lot of small, mid-size, and large groups to see where where we have synergies and where we have common guidelines, common paths, and try to bring them into the fold so we can grow together.
Right. And what is it that Great Expressions provides a potential group or a single office? What kind of support services that you guys provide that kind of make them more efficient?
So a couple of key things, right? One of the big focus areas for us is just we've got a homegrown system. And so we're really good with the practice management system, the back-end data, and the analytics and the insights that come out of it, to be able to show each office where they are, what's the areas of growth and opportunity, and then help them build from there. The other areas are obviously the standard stuff around, better pricing, better payer rates. One other advantage I think we have is a very more one-on-one coaching session that we have from our clinical partners.
Oh, very nice.
That helps them grow clinically, along with, industry courses and stuff to get them expertise through continuous education.
Yeah, the clinical coaching seems to be a big need and want of clinicians across, because as clinicians, I think their number one goal in life is to be a better clinician. Right? They want to be able to serve their patients better every day, and I think so that's a great advantage of being part of your organization, is the clinical support. Is there a mentorship program in place, or do you pair senior doctors with junior doctors? What's that look like?
So it's a mix of both, right? We've got, once the doctor comes on board, we have a clinical onboarding program, which is done by the clinical partner in that region.
Sure.
And so that's with a very senior expert doctor, right, who's got a very strong range of proficiencies across the different dental specialties. The next step then is, once they settle in, we run them through different programs, right, depending on what the need is. So there's an advanced mentorship program, which is we have different mentors based on what the need of the doctor is, right, and where they want to grow. And then obviously we have programs like case acceptance training, schedule building, where we try to get the whole office together, because dentistry is a team sport.
Yes, it is.
And you really need, in all cases like that, the team to be together and harmonious on what the actual end result you're driving towards.
That's fascinating. I think it's definitely needed in this industry, and the DSOs that are providing that support are definitely going to attract the right talent and doctors to work with them. Let me ask you a question I've asked every leader in this space: is how are you handling capacity? How are you handling, basically, there's the demand for dental services today exceeds the supply that's available. We don't have enough doctors, enough hygienists, enough chairs sometimes, and the labor market is very tough. How are you handling that from an operations standpoint, getting more patients to book an appointment without having to wait 30, 40, 50, 90 days sometimes?
So I think I would say I would be amiss to say that we figured it all out. We are figuring it out because it's changing on a daily basis.
Right. Okay.
Couple of things we did, as I told you at the beginning, right? We put in a little bit of effort on making sure we've gotten all our offices staffed. We're launching some key retention programs. Like we did some surveys to find out what are the reasons people are leaving, right? It's not just always money.
That makes sense.
Right? So we figured out a few areas, whether it's benefits, whether it's clinical education, whether it's recognitions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a mix of simple things, sometimes it's big things. So we figured out, we got that information, and we're acting on it so that we are providing to the team members more than just the money part.
Correct.
Right. The
Makes
second
sense.
part is we highlighted that to our doctors to say, like, this is a critical piece of the team sport part.
Right.
You got to keep the team together.
That's right.
Right. And so we're trying to drive some of that behavior to try and work it. Have we solved it? No.
Right.
But we are getting better. And that's how we're handling capacity. When it comes to patient times, I think we've been trying to do better with some of the emergency appointments, a little bit of same day calls to people to get them in, and doing the best we can to get as many people in as we can.
What's the show rate like right now? Are you seeing that decline, or is it kind of stable at around 70%?
Yeah, I mean, I think the no-show rate was really, it dipped in March, April.
Okay.
I would say March, and then it's kind of climbed back up again. We're seeing this very much in line with COVID. So as we've seen some of the variants and stuff grow, we're seeing the no-show rates spike. More than sort of what you would normally see at that time of the year.
Right. What do you guys do as part of your confirmation process to confirm an appointment? Is it purely digital as an email or a text, or is there also a outbound calling where you're confirming appointments to make sure just the people are coming?
We do a mix of both. I would say we rely a lot more on digital.
Okay.
Just because of, again, going back to your early point of capacity, there's
Right.
only so much
There's only
we can
so
ask people in the practices to do.
Right.
So we're relying more on digital, but in select cases, especially because we've got a lot of specialty.
Yeah.
On the specialty, because of the preparation and everything required, we're doing those more in an outbound manner.
And that makes sense, right? Because you're saving, because you don't want to have people not showing up, and then you could have given that appointment to somebody else.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about, you came from one of the largest consulting companies in the world. How does that background, the consulting background, help you running a dental support organization?
Oh, interesting. I think the key thing that you learn in consulting is to be able to go in and diagnose a problem or areas of issues or root causes, and putting a structure around it.
Right.
And then prioritizing it, both from an impact as well as ease of implementation standpoint. I mean, it's not rocket science, but at the same time, when you do it, it suddenly gives you a little bit more insight into, should I play the whack-a-mole game, or should I play some focused efforts and drop some balls?
Right.
Right. So because you can only juggle 3-4 balls at a time.
That's right. I can only do 2, sometimes even just 1.
Right.
But you're right. I think structure is important, right? Processes are important. And a lot of times, especially in the DSO world, when you're acquiring groups or dental offices that have different systems, and if everybody is running their own thing, it becomes hard, right?
Yeah. The other thing I think consulting has given a viewpoint into is to be able to bring best practices from other industries.
Oh, that's right.
So, dental has certain things that they do well, but there are other industries that are doing some things which you can totally, copy over and try to bring them in and see if you can, make it work. Not everything works,
Right.
but there are different ways to do it, and we're trying some things.
What are you doing in terms of new patient acquisitions? Do you guys do a lot of advertising, marketing to get new patients, or do you primarily rely on referrals?
We rely more on referrals.
Okay.
We're doing the mixed bag of postal mailers and digital marketing. But the advantage I think we have is because we are a multi-specialty dentistry and we take care of, our mission is to serve the community's needs.
Okay.
And that's why we take pretty much all payers, right? We are across the board, whether it's Medicaid, managed care plans, or PPO. So for us, it's more about reaching out to the community. So because of that and the fact that we take care of everyone from kids all the way to, pedos to oral surgeons, we're able to get that sort of pull in the community of, this is the one place to go solve all your dental healthcare needs.
And so you don't need that many new patients coming in, right? Because a patient may have multiple needs, whether it's orthodontic, whether it's endodontic, whether it's oral surgery. You're able to provide them
Exactly.
under one umbrella. That's fascinating. What are the growth plans coming up? What do you predict 2022 to look like, given that we have some headwinds coming from inflation and the rise in interest rates and overall the purchasing power of the U.S. consumer going down? What do you think holds in the future, the next 6 months and maybe 2023?
Yeah, so it has us a little concerned,
Yeah.
right? We do think that from a growth standpoint, we're taking this time to actually focus more on some of our clinical training and make sure our team members that we brought in are trained up better.
Right.
So we can maximize the patient flow that is coming in. There'll be a little bit of, if you're seeing some softness in the high dollar procedures,
Right.
or high dollar elective or cosmetic procedures.
Like aligners.
Right. And so we're trying to make sure that we work up different financing programs for people.
Fantastic.
We are also understanding of the fact that it might take a couple, visits before the people convert and accept that treatment. So we're being a little more patient, but at the same time, we're trying to bring in efficiency. So some of the, call it bread and butter dentistry, is done more efficiently, and we can keep the setup going well.
Well, this is great. I'm excited to see what happens with this whole industry, and especially with what you and Great Expressions and how the growth basically that will happen over the next course. I think it'll slow down a little bit, but dentistry is on a great path because of the amount of dentistry that's needed around the country. Is just, the need is not being met. And I think the DSO industry is doing an incredible job to make access to care more available and affordable to more patients. Nilesh, thank you for the conversation. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you, Amol. This was great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.